I am so excited. I'm so excited that you're here with me today. You have a fantastic story, and we have so many juicy parts that we're going to talk about today. Are you ready for this, Misha?
I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. Oh, this is so good. So, Misha, tell us a little bit about, who you are and where you were in the moment. Describe the context in the moment when you decided you wanted to take a break. Like, what was going on in your life? Where were you? What were you doing? Like, what was your sort of job at that time? Like, just kind of give us the picture, paint the picture.
Okay. At the time that I was deciding to take the break, I was feeling very overwhelmed. I was feeling very burnt out. And I think I was kind of having like an early midlife crisis where you wake up and go, is this what I really wanted? And I had all these questions in my head. I'd finally gotten the career that I thought I wanted. I was making the money that I thought I wanted, but yet I'd wake up and I wasn't very happy with it. And I didn't really know what to do. And so I think if I can, I'll kind of take it back to where it started. I started thinking. So I think late November, early December 2019, I went on a wellness retreat to Thailand. And it was this thing called the Whole Experience. And the two women that were running it, they had also just left their corporate jobs and traveled for a while. And they met in a cafe in Bali and decided to start wellness retreats, right? So I think at that retreat was the first time people were actually asking the question, what do you really want for your life? What do you want to do? Like, you can design and do whatever you want. And I don't think I'd ever really heard that before. There was just this path, right? You go to school, you get a job, you buy a house, and all this stuff. And here are these two women going, what do you want to do? Let's make it happen, So I remember coming back home, getting through the holidays and going, okay, I'm going to do something. I've always wanted to move to the Pacific Northwest. I'm going to do this, right? And I even got a career coach because I thought, how do I pivot from what I'm doing? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not sure what else I can do. What can I do? And she's walking me through it. She's kind of helping me. And then boom, COVID, right? And at the time, Seattle was like that little epicenter, it had the little black square with the white cross. And I thought, okay, well, maybe is this a sign? Maybe I need to just stay where I'm at, right? So for the next few months, I'm like, let me just monitor this, right? But during that time, because of COVID and the pandemic, I couldn't even do the things that would give me some type of happiness and release from my job, right? I couldn't travel, couldn't go to happy hour, all these things. So I just started feeling even more overwhelmed and just like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And I was listening to a podcast, Picky Girls Travel, and she mentioned Exodus Summit. And I'm thinking, what? So women are just taking breaks? And we're going to have this virtual retreat where these women are going to tell us that they took breaks from work? And I signed up, and I went, and that's where I saw you. You were one of the guest speakers, and the whole week I just listened to all these amazing women talk about how they just took time off and took a break. And I said, that's what I need. That's what it is. Maybe it's not jumping into another career or job or anything right now. Maybe it's just I need a break. I'm tired. I was starting to have high blood pressure issues, which I'd never had before. Now all of a sudden, they're talking about medications, and anyone knows me, I'm very natural. I don't want to do anything like that. I'm getting these headaches. I'm like, I'm not feeling well. I'm not at my healthiest. I need to do this. And after the retreat, I was pumped up, but then I got scared again. And that's when I was like, I need help. Let me reach out to you. And you got me on the right path. You're the support, the encouragement that I needed. And it was the best decision I ever could have made. So I know that was sorry.
No, that was so good. That was so good. And it's funny to reflect back on when you reached out to me, you were feeling like I'm all over the place. Like, I don't feel grounded. Everybody has all these ideas. I don't know what I should be doing. There are a million ways I could do it. And like, I'm thinking I could do it like this, or I could do it like so-and-so, right? Like you mentioned, Exodus Summit was an amazing place to be for inspiration and motivation, but there's also like a lot of ways to do a break, right? And there's a lot of information. And so I think you were feeling the inspiration and motivation, but also like where do I land this plane? Like, what do I do? Yeah.
Yes. Completely disorganized. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was really fascinating though, is I felt like in our time together, so we worked together for 3 months, you got clear pretty quickly, right? When we went through the activities, I feel like you actually weren't as confused as you thought. You just had so many ideas and you weren't fully connecting back to yourself to feel like, okay, but which of these really resonate and what is it that I truly need to make this experience work? But I feel like when we started to turn that lens inward, it kind of flowed is like my experience as your coach is that it kind of flowed from you. How did you feel about that process?
I think so too. I mean, it was kind of the same thing at that retreat, someone was asking me these questions that I needed. Like, I didn't know how to ask it of myself, didn't know where to go to look for it. And the activities you had me do, it really made me just sit down and really think about it. Okay, well, what do I want from my break? Because I was looking at the women that were doing the breaks, and, they were traveling abroad, they're doing this, volunteer activities. But I was like, I don't have to reflect their break. I can do what I want. So what do I really want? So yes, working with you, the activities, it got me clear, helped me organize and really decide what was best for me, what my break needed to be like. So
Yeah. Do you remember your themes from that? So I make everybody do themes. And so I'm just curious if you remember yours.
I don't. I have them written down. Do
Yeah,
you?
so I think I do. I have them written down. I don't know. Sometimes they change, like right when we do the work and we dig down deeper, but I have relocate. So we'll talk about that. But that was a huge piece of, when we really got clear on like, what is this time about? Your desire to relocate to Seattle, recharge, right? So the just like healing from the burnout and the grind. And then I had adventure on here. So, there was a lot around not just travel, but travel for the sake of adventure. And you are much more sort of active and naturey than me. And so a lot of the things on your list were amazing and also like outside of my comfort zone. But I had you down for three. Those were like the three big ones that you came up with. I don't remember if you had a fourth one, but those were like the big ones. And so, yeah.
Yes.
And so now that we're at the end, I just want to spoil it. Do you feel like you accomplished those themes, relocation, recharge, and adventure?
Absolutely. 100%. All of it. It was good hearing that again. Yes.
Yeah. And you did it during COVID. You did it during a global pandemic, right?
I did, which was very scary at the time, but I think it worked out. It really worked out.
Let's talk about that working out, Misha, because sometimes there were things that were happening that were like, the universe was just basically showing up for you and being like, hey, Misha, I got you. Like, I will make this perfect.
It was. I think as soon as I said, okay, I'm going to do this, and I picked my actual date, I then made a list of what I needed to do. And I feel like everything just started coming together. I mean, even better than I could have planned or imagined it. It just all worked out. It was amazing. And I feel like it's still just continuing to work out. Once I kind of let go, I think I was always trying to hold the reins so tight, but you just gotta let it go. Put your intentions out there, and I do feel like the universe and everything just comes together and it works and unfolds as it should, and better.
Yeah. And it's so amazing to have a front row seat to your journey. And I want to talk about one of those very sort of like amazing serendipitous things, which was, wrapped around how you decided to finance your break. So can you tell us, like everybody does it differently, right? So we've talked to Chad before who, like his clinic was closing and there was an opportunity for him to take some time off because of, job change stuff. But for you, how did you finance your break? And can you tell us a little bit about what you thought that experience would be like and what it was really like, just sort of like finding the funds and making it happen?
Absolutely. So a few years ago, I started to kind of get better with my finances, started listening to financial podcasts and stuff. And I realized I needed to get rid of my debt. That was the largest factor, I think, just getting rid of the student loans, credit card, all of that stuff. Once that was cleared out, I just started putting aside money. I didn't really know what it was going to be for, right? But I just started kind of putting it aside and started being more intentional about it. And so I had a little bit there, but I think the largest part is my house, I bought it, I think, as I was turning 30, I think. And I had gotten to the point where I was very appreciative of the house, but I realized I bought this because everyone kind of said that you should, like stop renting.
Yeah, that's same. I had that same purchase. Yeah, same reason. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I did, but then I realized the maintenance, the upkeep, to me, it felt more expensive. Anytime I hear something, I go, oh my goodness, how much is that going to cost, Yeah. And so I kind of started feeling like, feels almost like a burden, but yet I'm also very appreciative, for it. And it turned out when I decided, I'm going to relocate, I realized I don't want to keep this house. I don't want to worry about it. It's not somewhere I want to move back to or anything. I'm going to sell it. I didn't know how that would go in the pandemic, but I reached out to my realtor, the same one who had helped me buy it, and she said, you couldn't have picked a better time. She's like, inventory is low, houses are flying off the shelf. And we put it on the market, and within 2 days, I had 36 showings and 13 offers. Like my realtor had to just pull it. She's like, okay, we just need to cut it because just too much is coming in. And I got a cash offer over asking price, and they wanted a 3-week closing. It worked out so well. And even that last week, I remember I was living in San Antonio, and that's when Texas had that crazy freeze, and I lost electricity. A lot of people lost water, and that was the last week I was supposed to close. And so it came to a standstill, and I got nervous again, like, how do I get the rest of the stuff out of here? What am I going to do? How do I, how's it going to work? And my family came through that weekend. As soon as the ice melted, everything, they came through. Facebook Marketplace, like things were flying off, like everything was working out. And the stuff that I was taking, I just threw it in a storage unit, and I figured I'll figure it out later where that needs to go. You know what I mean? And because I had a cash offer, once again, universe, I didn't have to get it re-inspected. So all the houses that were, closing because of that freeze that week, and all the water pipes, all of them had to stop and get re-inspected. But because mine was a cash offer, closed on time. Like I'm telling you, like everything just worked out. And I had higher other, offers, but I thought cash is probably a lot safer. Let's just do that. And it turned out to be just perfect. So my house, I would say that turned out to be a very good investment. And that's what allowed me to just take this break, and a comfortable break. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. I did what I wanted. I ate what I wanted, I lived where I wanted. So yeah, I say the biggest one was the house. And then also I had just been saving, just putting aside some money, didn't know what it was going to be for, but yeah. So
yeah. Yeah, it was so incredible, just as like the updates, because we were working together at that time, and I think maybe just ending, and it was incredible just how it all unfolded. And I just want to zoom out and say, if you told someone, listen, the pandemic is here, I'm thinking I'm going to quit my job, I'm thinking I'm going to move somewhere else, I'm thinking I'm going to take a career break, and actually I'm going to sell my house. Like if you had told someone this before the moment that you did it, right? Like even 6 months before, it would have looked like nonsense on paper, right? It would have made no sense. It would have seemed like you were lighting your whole entire life on fire and watching it burn. And
yes.
Instead, you were being honest and following your truth and doing what felt right, and honoring that voice inside of you that was like, Misha, like there's got to be something more for you. Misha, go to Seattle. Misha, like let go of the things that no longer fit you. And you did it. And like you said, it was so amazing to see your leap of faith, and just how the universe kept, supporting you in that and meeting you halfway. It was really, really cool to see.
Yes, thank you. It's exactly how I felt, same thing when you said, like, felt like I was lighting on fire. I did have that feeling, because I thought, what are you doing? Right? Like, you're too old to be doing this kind of thing. This is very irresponsible. Should you do this? And I'm glad, and you helped me walk through that. Like, it's going to be okay. It's all going to work out. You can start fresh. This is what you always wanted. I had been living in Texas since I was a teenager, but I just never felt like it fit me. One, the weather, I'm just very uncomfortable in high temperatures, right? And Texas is just hot for way too long, and huge bugs it just was never for me, And I've always enjoyed the Pacific Northwest. I think it's beautiful. I love hiking, kayaking, any outdoor sports, and you can do it a lot more comfortably here, with the weather, and it's just beautiful out here. But I'd always been scared to move here by myself. I didn't know anyone here, I'm friends or family here. And so every year I would kind of go, well, maybe another time, maybe when I'm in the 30s, maybe when I retire, maybe this, and this, And with this break, it just gave me that opportunity of, why not now, right? You don't really know what you want to do for work. You thought you had hit that perfect career, and it turned out not to be. And you're kind of not sure, you're kind of lost, you're also overwhelmed, burnt out, you're tired. So maybe this is the time. Just go. And the big thing was, I figured, well, if it doesn't work out, then I guess I just come back, right?
Absolutely.
But it worked out. It was better than I could have imagined. It just feels really, really good. I'm in a really good place. So
yeah. And again, Misha, you moved during a pandemic. Like there's so many reasons why that would be like the worst time, right? To make friends, to try to find a place, but it's like, I think if I got this right, also, didn't you time it well as far as like selling your house, but not only that, like finding an apartment? Because wasn't there sort of like, I mean, it was crazy, like
COVID
the way
pricing.
things,
COVID pricing. So I made it out big because of, the houses selling, right? That it was a seller's market. And then because of COVID, the prices here in Seattle, as far as apartments, were a lot lower, So
so
I got like
crazy.
a really great spot. Yeah, like a really great spot. Now I didn't get a large apartment, anything like that, something that I can feel comfortable in. But the price, I mean, you couldn't beat it. Like I just got the renewal and it
Yeah.
shot back.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, enough of that,
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, you got your discount. We're good now. Yeah.
Exactly, So I mean, it was perfect. It was perfect for my break. Yeah, it once again worked out. It was
I
perfect.
know, Misha. Oh, every time I was like, dang, I love it. So, one more thing before we talk about like move into your break, because I think a lot of people can relate to this too. So, one of the big pain points, right? I think there were two other ones I can think of, and we'll talk about the second one later, but was telling people, right? Like telling your family, telling your boss, right? It was like so much. It was like a big cloud of like, just how is this going to go? Like feeling like this could go horribly wrong. And I would love for them to support me, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Will they understand? So tell us kind of like what you were like expectation versus reality, right? Like, what was it like, telling your family? What was it like telling your job, sort of what you were thinking and fearing versus like what actually happened?
Yeah, so I expected everyone to be like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you going to do this? You're kind of like just blowing up your life. Like this is just irresponsible." But in fact, everyone was pretty supportive. My family took it really well. My mom was all in. She was like, "Yes," but she's always like that. Like, "Yes, go do the things I didn't do. Go, go." My dad and brother, they were like, okay, but I think in the back they're kind of a little nervous. But my
Mhm.
dad kind of mentioned, well, you just come back. If it doesn't work, you just come back. So I think they're just like, well, she can always just come back. But they took it really well. And my friends, everyone was just kind of shocked, like, wow. And a lot of them were like, wow, I would love to do something like that. So I was saying my friends were, everyone was pretty open. I had one friend, I love her to death. She was kind of like, if you need to talk, you can call me. I think she thought something's wrong with her. What is she talking about? But still supportive. And then as far as work, I was a little worried about that too. But my boss was really awesome. It's like she just understood and she was like, I hear that. We're sorry to lose you. And they did try, made another offer, but I was just like, I just need to
Yeah.
go. And she's like, I understand. You just need to go.
Yeah.
Always come back. We can have other positions. So I love that. Everybody was supportive. Some were shocked, but they were like, man, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. So it was different than I thought. People were
Yeah.
pretty surprised, but also like, man, that sounds awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like we kind of glossed over the job one because they like I remember you were just like, "Oh, I'm not sure how this is going to go." And then it's not like they offered you another job. It's like they created a position virtually where they were like, weren't they going to let you be out on the West Coast or something if you really wanted to? Like it didn't like they made it up kind of. So it's not even like they were like, "Yeah, Misha, if you want to stay, like we'll give you this job." It's like, "What can we do to get you? Would this get you to stay?" Like it was so in my mind it was so supportive and indicative of like how great a job you did and just how people don't take it personally when you're communicating, this desire from a place of like, I want you to understand why I'm doing this and I'm excited for it and I'm motivated versus like, I'm freaking out and I'm burned out and I don't know what I'm doing. And like when you show up confidently and your themes, your purpose, why you're doing this, I feel like people are just inspired. And so I feel like that was kind of a development too, right? It was like if you had wanted that path, they just sort of tried to meet you halfway by making something up.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was working from home, but I was working in the field. But because of the pandemic, I was already at home anyways, and they said, well, if you stay, how about we just make you completely remote and you can just be out there and we'll put you on the West Coast team. How about that? But like I said, I just knew this isn't for me anymore. I didn't say that, but I was just like, I just feel the need. I need a break. I want to just go try something different. But I appreciate, the offer and I love that, it's kind of open, and that's what my boss is like, you can come back. You know what I mean? We'd be happy to have you back. So I loved having that in the background. So it did show that I had done a great job. You know, I received a lot of recognition. They knew what I brought to the table, and that felt really well. So I didn't feel like I was running from anything. I feel like I just hit this point where I was like, it's not where I want to continue anymore. You know, it's been a great job. I love the people I work with. You know, my boss was amazing, but I just needed something different. I needed to go do what was best for me at the time. And that was, I needed a break and I needed to get out of Texas. I needed to do something different. So absolutely. So they're very supportive. I was right. And I gave them like 30 days notice. I made sure I cleared out all my cases. I didn't want, you know, my coworkers to have to take any of my stuff. So I feel they appreciate that too, you know, and like you
Yeah.
said, I didn't come there, you know, timid or meek. I just went, hey, I'm excited about this. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, it was great. It was a great response.
Oh, I love it so much. Okay. So tell us, Misha, like, what did you do at the beginning of your break? Like, how did your break start? Sort of what was that experience? Like, tell us about the transition.
Yeah. So when I was trying to plan it at first, because I do love traveling. I love it. And I thought, well, if you're gonna take this break, you should do like other people, go abroad, go hit up all these countries that you wanted to do, and you'll have more time to do it instead of you only have a few days, you know, a year with your PTO. But then like you and I were working through it, and I realized I just want to sleep. I just want to relax. I don't think I want to go hopping around. Maybe that's not what I need right now. So I chose, you know, I'm going to relocate to the city I've always wanted to be in, and I'm just going to take some time and rest. And at first, I would say the first 2 3 months was a little difficult just because I think we're all taught to just be on this constant hamster wheel, this grind. Like, you know, you do this, do this, do this, like your whole days are structured. So in the beginning, I thought that's what I needed to do. Okay, so on Monday, I'm going to do this, and Tuesdays, I'll do this and this. And I was trying to stick to that, and then it didn't feel right. And then I felt like if I didn't do anything, then it felt lazy. You know, I had all these things going to my head. So it took me, I would say, a couple of months, maybe 3 months, to just kind of reprogram myself and go, just do whatever you want to do. And it got to that point where if I want to go to the beach, I went to the beach. You know, if I wanted to sit there and read all day, I did it. You know, if I wanted to Netflix it all day, I did it. I went and ate where I wanted to eat. I went on a couple of vacations, you know, I journaled, you know, did yoga and just got my head together, you know, and I'd sleep. If I just felt like sleeping at, you know, 1 2 o'clock, I just did it. And I would just sleep. And so I don't know, I did watercolor, I did my yoga, I started trying to learn French on Duolingo. I'm still doing that, getting better, you know. But yeah, I just do whatever I wanted to do every day. Every day. It just felt amazing. I never had time where no one expected anything of me. I could just do what I wanted day in and day out. If I didn't do laundry today, that's okay. I can do it tomorrow. You know, I didn't get groceries today. That's okay. I can do it tomorrow. Or maybe next week. Who cares? Maybe we'll just order in today. Yeah. So it was great. My break was just about relaxing and just remembering, you know, who I am. What was I before the career and everything, you know, and what makes me feel good. What do I love doing? And it just felt really good kind of rediscovering that. And my blood pressure normalized. Like
Oh,
the
so
headaches went
good.
away, everything. It feels good. It feels really good. So
I'm so
yeah.
happy for that. Yeah, that's so amazing. I mean, I tell people it can take up to 3 months to sort of deprogram the old way of, because when you've been doing it for years, right? Years and years running on the hamster wheel, you can get off, but your legs and your arms are still like trying
We're
to
still
like,
going.
they're still going and they're like, wait, but I can't stop. I don't know why I can't stop, but I just know I can't stop. And so it takes a while for you to realize you're not on the wheel anymore. And so I think, you know, your journey was very sort of like normal in that way of like just having to like relax into releasing, right? Relax into relaxing and sort of let it, you know, let it happen and sort of wake up and see, oh, this is different. I'm safe here. I can do what I want to do. I have freedom. I can decide.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I agree. So I'm glad it was at least 10 and a half months, you know, because those first three, I think you need those, like you said, to just kind of get your head together and relax. And like you said, just reprogram your thoughts. And to be honest with you, I probably would have stayed another couple of months or so on a break, but this awesome opportunity came through, and I realized, well, I do feel really good. I feel rested. Why not? Let's go do this, So,
Yes. Oh my gosh, Misha, we have to talk about that. Okay. So, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this part of the conversation. So, I'm going to set the stage. I went back to, again, like what like when you wrote kind of where you're at the very beginning, when we first started working together. One of the key things that you talked about was, in fact, I think one of the reasons you hired me was because I talked about reentry and I talked about being thoughtful about reentry. And at the time, right, one of the things that your brain was worried about is like, what will that look like? And you were like, oh, I could have a plan for that. I should talk to her about having a plan for that. Right. But like you said, the reality was you weren't even trying to reenter and you just called in an amazing opportunity, which is not by any stretch abnormal. Like it doesn't happen to everyone, but I have lots of clients that, sort of like the opportunity finds them. And it's like we talked about in the beginning, you were really good at your job. You showed up with integrity. You left with integrity. And it's sort of like you leave this halo, like you don't lose your experience. You don't lose your network. You don't lose, the way people think of you. And so you're still out, you're living your life, but you're still seen in a very positive light. And I think, you don't always have to be struggling. It doesn't have to be a struggle to find a job when you are thoughtful about your break and thoughtful about how you leave and how you spend this time to really, like you said, recharge and become a more well-rested, inspired, motivated, version of yourself. So tell us, Nisha, like, what did you think reentry would be like? And what was it actually like? Like, how did this happen? How did this come about?
Yeah, so I thought it was going to be difficult. I felt like in the past it had always taken a few months, to get it. And it's just kind of hurts your pride sometimes. You're applying and you're not hearing back. And, so I thought it was going to be like that again. So, and the beginning of the year, so I think the first week of January, I thought, well, maybe this is my reentry period and it's probably going to take a while. So why don't we just kind of throw a few out there? And I did a total of 6 applications that week in January. Yeah, 6 applications. But once I put them out there, I kind of just went back to just enjoying my time, reading all day. And, it's pretty rainy in January, so I wasn't going to the beach or anything, but I just was just relaxing. I didn't think too much about it, And before I know it, I got callbacks on 3. I'd never had that before. I remember putting tons of applications in like crickets, right? And within 3-4 weeks, I had these callbacks for interviews and stuff, And I was just kind of like, why does it really just happen like this? And the one that I thought would be the best fit, I was like, yeah, let's do this. I like the offer, and I got to do, when I did the interview, it was a huge panel and it would be my teammates, and I just thought it was a great group. I thought it was a great vibe. And I mean, they called so quickly. I did the interview and they told me, well, we have some other interviews, so maybe early next week we'll give you a call if you go into the next thing. And I remember I said, okay, bye, nice to meet everyone. And I had a dinner party to go to that evening, like a book club / dinner party, and I had a cake to make. So when I hung out with them, I was like, all right, gotta get this cake going. Like, just didn't think about it. So I went to making the cake and all that stuff. And then as I'm getting ready to go to the dinner party, I get a call and it's them. So they had said it would be next week, but I guess they liked me. And they were like, we'd like to go ahead and move forward and go on to the next interview. And I was like, okay, sure. All right, let's do that. And I think the next interview was scheduled for next Wednesday. And I was kind of like, well, what do they need? What else do they need to know, right? But I was like, okay, sounds good. Went to my dinner party, enjoyed my weekend. Come Monday, I got another call. And they asked for an interview for that Friday. And I said, well, why not? Let's see what these people do, right? But on my interview on Wednesday, they were like, oh, no, you have it. We just wanted you to go to the next step. We needed to discuss more stuff. And I'm just like, what? And that next day, they gave me the official offer. And so I canceled the other interview that I had scheduled for it just worked out like it should have, and I started last week, and I think I'm really going to enjoy it. I really, really am going to enjoy this. And this is my 3rd career. So
Yeah. Tell us what were the first 2, and then what is this 3rd career? Like, give us some context for that.
Yeah. So in my 20s, just out of college, I was a police officer for almost 7 years.
It's so crazy when you tell me that every time. I'm like, did I make that up? No, she really was.
Yeah. No, so my degree was in criminal justice, and I was practically recruited right out of college. Went and worked there for almost 7 years. And when I left there, I just kind of thought, well, this didn't work out the way I thought it would. Yeah, I don't know what am I going to do next, right? But then I got into another job that was pretty related to it. I had to do fraud investigations for an insurance company, and I was doing that. And like I said, it was the most I'd ever made. It was, amazing responsibility they gave me, and it was great. So when I left this one, I was thinking, what else is there to do, kind of in that field that I don't know. I don't want to do investigations. I don't want to be a police officer or anything anymore. And this one came through, and I even get to use the gavel. I get to bring the court to orders.
Awesome.
I never would have thought that was even possible. It's just amazing. So now, yeah, I'm on to career number 3, and the first 2 were each about 6 to 7 years long. Yeah, so
it's incredible. And I think what's interesting, right, is you are a great example of being able to use your experience, your prior experience, and your interests, right, and your strengths to navigate those pivots. So there's a thread for you, right? Not everyone has that thread, but like there's a thread for you, sort of like a relationship between each of these stops, but you've used them to completely change directions and go, in a different path that's sort of related but different. And I think you are just such a great example of, there's no finite number of careers or job choices. It's like when it's time to evolve, we are allowed to evolve. No one is stopping us. We are allowed to put something down and pick something new up. And I just, I think it's so amazing you did it twice. You went into a break not feeling sure what the third thing would be, but feeling like you wanted there to be a third thing. And then it's like, I know it was emotional effort, but effortless as far as like the physical, you know what I mean? It just sort of unfolded the way that it wanted to, and it just happened. And I think that is so beautiful.
absolutely, absolutely. Don't be afraid to pivot. And I think that's something that has changed for me now. I think more of it's all going to work out. Like I don't stress as much as I used to worry about everything, and I felt like I had to plan every little thing out, right? And now I'm more just like, oh, it's going to work out. Like this experience just showed me. I moved 1,500 miles away, to a place where I knew 2 people, and both of those women moved the month that I arrived. Okay.
Oh
So I showed up going, I don't know anyone. What am I going to do? And let me tell you how the universe works. The day I moved there, I remember it was April 1st. That was the day I said I wanted to be there. I had a really late flight in. And even though I can get the keys to my apartment, I was like, there's nothing at that place. What am I going to do that late at night? So I said, I'm just going to get a hotel room. That way I can get a good night's sleep, shower, and the next day I'll start, right? But I go to check in at the front desk, and the woman behind the counter goes, oh, she looks at my driver's like, you're from Texas. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, how long are you going to be here? I was like, I just moved here. And she's like, I'm from Austin. I just moved here. She gave me all her contact information, and now that's my friend Lo.
Oh my goodness.
Beach. Yeah. And we go boxing together, and yeah, but that's how the universe works. I was worried about, well, am I gonna find friends? I don't know, but I'm just gonna go. And my very first day, I meet my first friend, who we're still friends. Yeah. So it works out. Like all those things that you used to worry, just let it go. It's gonna be fine. It will work itself out the way it should be, and it's even better than you could have planned, I think. And that's what this experience has just taught me. And I think I'm going to take that forward, the rest of my life. It's going to work out. It's going to be fine. Don't worry so much. It's okay. Pivot if you need to. Relocate. Start over. It's okay. Go for it.
That's so amazing. And so you kind of like jumped ahead, mind reader. You went to my next question. So you've already just answered it, which is great. But I just want to ask, like, that's a very significant difference in like pre-break Misha, right? And post-break Misha. And so I'm just curious, when you think about how your life is different now, but how also you are different now, is there anything else you would add to that as far as like how the experience has changed you? Or is it mainly, would you say it was mainly that?
Yes, mainly that. I feel like I'm in a good place. Like I said, I think all those months just gave me time to just really look inward, and I started reading a lot of metaphysical books and a lot of those podcasts, the universe, all this stuff. And I think a few years ago, if someone would have told me that stuff, I would have been like, kind of, you're a little weird. A little too woo for for me, but no, this gave me the time. And as I saw, as things are just happening, when I just laid back and let it go, stop trying to control everything, it really did. It just works out. So anytime I do go, oh, what am I? Let it go. Like it's gonna be fine. It's gonna continue to work itself out. Like it will. And I think that has really just changed me. It's just opened my mind and realized that if I even want to change what I'm doing now, 2, 3, then just do it. Like you can just pick up and you can just start over. You can pivot. You can do what you want. Like it'll work out even better than you could have, planned it. It's gonna be fine. So I feel just, I don't know, I just feel a lot better, a lot freer, a lot looser, just happier. Definitely. I smile a lot more now. I'm just in a really good place. And I don't think if I hadn't just taken this time for myself, and just did something just for me, I don't know if I'd be feeling this way. I started this new job and I just have such a positive attitude, and I'm just gonna continue it. Just not let it stress me out. Like it's okay. It's okay.
Absolutely. And I don't think it's a coincidence that even though your prior experiences trying to find new opportunities, new jobs felt like it took a while, I don't feel like it's a coincidence at all that this felt effortless. Like I think it is a byproduct of who you've become on this break, right? Like you've let go of some limiting beliefs or some points of view, right? About what is
Limiting beliefs.
possible. Yeah, about what's possible for you, what you're capable of. And like you said, you smile more, you feel well rested. There's a joy that emanates from you. You found a sense of power and a seat of like control in your life. Like the version of you that shows up to that interview and how you have an energy around it and sort of what you make it mean, right? It's totally different than coming out of a break feeling desperate or feeling ashamed or feeling like, sort of a lack of confidence about what you've decided to do. Like it's day and night. And so I think that this new Misha, post-break Misha, right? Sort of like, even higher version of you called in this opportunity because of those changes, right? I think it felt effortless in some ways or easier because of those changes that you had sort of cracked yourself wide open to during your break.
Absolutely. And you said it, limiting beliefs. That's when I realized that I had a lot of those before. And I think it was just a lot of kind of negativity. It wasn't intentional. It just, I think life had just hit me, kicked me around a little bit, that I thought maybe this is all that there is. Maybe you can't do this. Maybe you just won't do this or that, And with this break and just seeing how things just kept working out, it just gave me more confidence. I just started being a lot more positive and just more open-minded and just going, the sky really is the limit. Well, maybe not even the sky. You go even further, right? Jeff Bezos going into space, right? Like you could do whatever you really want to do. And I think when you do open yourself up for that and you make space for that, things just come, they come in. You let go of the other stuff, make space for the good things, and those things will come in and fill it up, and it just feels amazing. So I agree. I think just this type of energy that I'm giving off now, and a lot more positive. It's like you said, it's just calling in great things, calling in really great friends. Like I said, I didn't know anyone. I started with low, and then I'm walking my dog, and I found another good friend, Catherine. She was a couple floors above, and she introduced me to her friends, and then more. And everything just flows. Like I think all these amazing things just keep getting attracted to you. These things just keep working out. The opportunities, the tools, everything that you need, to succeed and go forward. It just starts flowing in. Just flows in, easily, effortlessly. It's amazing. Absolutely.
Oh, Misha, this has been such a treat. And you are so fantastic for coming here and sharing so much of your story. And so the last question, I want to reflect on is how, do you feel that coaching, specifically like career break coaching, right? Because I know you worked with a career coach before, but how do you feel like that shaped your experience into and through your break?
I absolutely believe it's worth it. I feel like before I used to just think, oh, I can figure this out. I'm smart. I can figure this out. I can read a book. I can do this and this. And now I realize it's 100% worth it. Pay for coaching. Just pay for it. One, that wellness retreat, I needed that. I don't think I could have even got into that plane without doing that. The career coach, I needed that because I needed someone to basically show you can pivot. We can take these skills and we can get you here. We can get you to Seattle. We got this, right? And then even though I went through that virtual Exodus Summit, retreat, yeah, it was great hearing all those women, but then I was like, how do I do this? So career break coach, it was totally worth working with you. I mean, like I said, you helped me organize this. You gave me the encouragement, the support when I would freak out, right? You'd be like, okay, let's talk about this. What's the worst case scenario? You know what I mean? And I realized, oh, okay, because no one else was doing this. I didn't know any friends that were doing this. I couldn't talk to anyone. My family hadn't done this, you know? It's totally worth it. Get someone who has done this before. They can give you the support, the encouragement that you need. And like you said, the activities that you gave me, I mean, it was perfect. It was what I needed, you know, it got me to this place. So yeah, pay the money. It's worth it. I think a lot of us need to just pay for it. Just pay for it. Like you think, oh, when you're working out, I can do this on my own. Pay for the personal trainer. It'll get you there a lot faster.
True. It's so true. I've spent many a dime on coaching myself because it's like when you want to get somewhere, it's like it's more fun and you'll get there faster. Just pay for your help. Yeah.
Pay for it. Just pay for it. They have the knowledge, you know, experience, the skills that you need. It's 100% worth it. So I'm so thankful for you. I'm so thankful for everything you did. Like I said, the encouragement, the support. You continue to follow up with me, our emails, even while I was on the break. You know, it felt good. You know, just someone else had been through this and that I could still reach out to. It's just 100% worth it.
Oh, I love it. Oh, Misha, you are such a joy. You have been a joy ever since the very first conversation. I have really loved this conversation. Thank you so much for sharing such a, you know, like a personal part of your story. And I know that it's going to inspire other people that have similar fears and similar concerns and that are feeling similarly stuck, right? Like when we think about, do I really have control? Can I really change this? So thank you for being you. And thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thanks for having me. And anyone watching, just do it.
Just
go
do
for it.
it.
You will be so happy that you did it. It'll work out.